Here's last Sunday's message in 2 minutes-ish. So last Sunday, we've been going through the book of Romans, and we're on to the 5th part of this sermon series, which puts us pretty much into chapter 6. And in chapter 6, it talks about being dead to sin and alive to God. But in order to understand it, we need to understand what the biblical definitions are of dead and alive. You see, because most people think that the word dead means that we cease to exist, and the word alive means that we exist. But biblically, that's not true. You see, you are going to exist always anyways. Whatever God creates, he creates for eternity. So like when you die, if you're saved, you go to heaven, you still exist. Now you're in heaven. Or if you're not saved, you go to the lake of fire, you still exist. You're just in the lake of fire. So what the biblical definitions are of dead and alive is that dead means separated and alive means connected. So when we die physically, we're separated from this physical world. We're separated from our physical bodies. But if we're saved, we're still connected to God, so we go to be with him in heaven. And if we're not saved, we are separated from God. This is known as the second death, because we're separated physically, and then secondly, we're separated spiritually from God. And so then we go to the lake of fire. So the point is, that's what dead and alive means. So when it says that when we got saved, we died to sin, it means we got separated from sin. Our sin nature was removed from us, taken away, and we are completely separated from sin. But we're not just dead to sin. We're alive to Christ. We're actually alive in him. We're now connected to him. This is where we get the power to not sin anymore. Before we got saved, we were considered as slaves to sin because we had no choice. We were connected to it. We were alive to sin. Now we're dead to it. We're separated, so it has no power over us, no more power than what we give it. But we're also alive to Christ, and so through our connection to him, his life being lived through us, we have the power to live completely righteously before him, in him, with his life being lived through us. So that is what it is to be dead to sin and alive to Christ. It's what Romans 6 talks about. Okay, that's it. Bye.